complete your thought, and
Yes,
then we'll take the next
I
item.
was saying that if you look at the level of the credibility of the process since 1999, we've been having an incremental level of credibility. However, with this electronic system that we've introduced, it seems to have there's been a quantum leap from what we've had in the previous time. You cannot, as Clement also said, there seems to be prima facie an improvement on the electioneering exercise 2015 compared to 2011. But the issues that you have raised, the issues you have raised in terms of unintended disenfranchisement of people, like the INEC official said, it's a constitutional matter. These are issues that I believe may go to tribunal, because somebody might raise the fact that in the performance of INEC. But if you look at the case law in electoral laws, what the court is concerned with is substantial compliance. Substantially, has INEC complied with the requirement of the law? And as an INEC official has said, you have a hierarchy of norms starting from the Constitution to the Electoral Act and then the electoral guidelines. If what the process have gone through complies with these normative framework, then what the court will say is that they have substantially complied.
When you talk about, you mentioned something about disenfranchisement.
Yes.
Staying with the issue of compliance. Yeah. Now, some polling units, for instance, have gone through the accreditation process, but there are no results.
No result sheets.
No result sheets. Some others have not gone through the accreditation process because the accreditation process was stopped because there were no result sheets. Some other units have done the accreditation, but they've been told they cannot vote because there are no result sheets. So at the end of the day, does that amount to disenfranchisement?
Well, to the extent that people are not allowed to vote by no fault of theirs and they are qualified to vote, there is a tendency to push an argument that there's been disenfranchisement. However, the process tries to correct itself. That's why we use the word adjustment. INEC may have to take some adjustment, and the adjustment will come after the collation. Then they will make assessment of each polling unit to see those ones that they may direct that come back tomorrow and conduct the election, and those that, depending on the record, the report of the, what do you call them, the officials of INEC, they may make the consequential, orders that will guide the outcomes of those, And at the end of the day, what the court will focus on will be in those areas where elections were properly conducted and the result collated and announced.
So what happened to the other ones that the results were?
Oh, well,
it will just be a throwaway.
It will be a throwaway. It will be not to any fault of theirs, but not also to any fault of the system.
Okay, well, we'll come back to you on the area of the legal side of the litigations that are likely to arise.
Yes.
Professor Akpanabo, do you think this process, for instance, in River State, our reporter Emmanuel reported that the governor asked that the accreditation exercise be suspended, and indeed he shut down the accreditation exercise because there were no result sheets. In the process where there's an umpire for an election, I mean, is he empowered to do that?
I don't think so. Professor Yo can speak more about the law, but I mean, I don't think the governor has, or the president for that matter, has the authority to stop the process. He talked about hierarchy of norms. There's a constitution, there's the electoral act, and none of those, neither the constitution nor the electoral act provides that authority to the governor or the president or any political figure to stop that process. So that process should not have been stopped, because talking of disenfranchisement, people have been disenfranchised in that process.
Okay, just hold your thought. We'll come back to that. Let's speak to the Commissioner of Police in Lagos, Kayode Aderonti. Hello, sir.
Hello, good evening.
Mr. Aderonti, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, there's been a restriction of movement, for the election period. I mean, that's expected. But we understand there's an extension. To what extent is that extension?
Yeah, we intend to extend it to 7 p.m. This to afford most of the voters and the collation of all these votes to be concluded.
Why? What's necessitating this extension?
Yeah, we believe that that's the right thing to do. Since morning, we've been all over the street, all over the state. I've been to all parts of Lagos State, Badagry, St. Mary, Ekwe, Ikorodu, and all the presently among Badia, Jarabadia, and we just believe that's the right thing to do for us to extend it to 7 p.m. to allow the good people of Lagos to have their say and ensure that all their votes count and secured.
Okay, so far, have you had any issues that have forced you to make arrest, and what are these issues?
So far, I think we've been relatively calm. You know, we've been going all over the states by air, by our boats. You know, we've been all over the place, create water everywhere, and we just believe that people are showing that enthusiasm. Initially, we had some hiccups with the card reader, but it has been resolved, and this has actually pushed the vote timing a little bit forward. So we believe that those people that are voting that started late, they need a little time to tidy up things and ensure that all these things is wrapped up in a very, very fair way.
Okay. Now, there are some polling units that are not likely to have elections today, like, Shoki, for instance, and according to INEC, they are likely to continue the voting process tomorrow. Would there be restriction as well, extended till tomorrow being Sunday?
Yeah, when we get there, we'll take a look at that and we'll make appropriate announcement. But for today, we believe 7 p.m. should be okay for us to wrap things up.
All right. Thank you very much. The Commissioner of Police, Mr. Kayode Adewanti, there, updating us on the restriction and security situation. Thank you so much for speaking with us.
7 p.m. Thank you.
Okay, you were...
Yeah, talking about the unintentional disenfranchisement here. Yeah, I just said a governor has no authority. I don't think the Constitution or the Electoral Act gives the governor the authority to stop accreditation process just because they were no. So if the governor wanted to move things along, what he would have done would have been to figure out how to get
because that's
the results.
The situation in Rivers State is also reportedly. It was also reported in Akwa Ibom State as well. The governor of Akwa Ibom and the governor of Rivers State were said to have not seen result sheets.
And so they stopped the accreditation.
Well, we're not too sure about the Akwa Ibom.
I think the reports that we saw from the Rivers State, the governor went there, and I think security operatives also came on the scene to know what the governor was doing there. And I don't think the governor stopped the accreditation. It's just that it was reported that some political parties have said that if the process does not follow the due process, they are not going to accept the outcome of the summit. And that is quite different from anybody stopping. And as Prof has said, they do not have the authority under our laws to stop. The only umpire that is recognized by law in all this process is INEC.
Do you anticipate litigations, after the elections, a lot of litigations concerning this card reader failure and the fact that some people could not vote based on the card
Well,
readers?
if I say that I don't anticipate litigation, I think some of my colleagues will not like it because that means I'm interfering with their means of livelihood. But on a more serious note, you know that there will be litigation. Even in the American system, you remember the popular Al Gore litigation that went all the way to, to the apex court. In Nigeria, there will always be, post-election, election petition. So that is one of the things we're hoping that the card reader can resolve so that by the time the preponderance of electronic evidence is convincing enough to persuade you that the outcome cannot be any different from the outcome announced by INEC. That can only happen when we get to the level of having a high level of sanctity and integrity in the process.
I've got this comment from Adetukumbo Bayan, who says he was not accredited officials were slow, yet insisted on cut-off time, so about 30% of the people present were affected. Should this have been the case?
No. Even from what INEC chairman said, that if the INEC did not start on time, they should count the people on the queue. And those people should be like, we saw in Sokoto, Daura, they counted and they said at a particular point in time there's a cutoff. I think that's probably what he's saying, that they must have counted those who were on the queue and then said nobody else is going to come. And I think the INEC officials have the authority to do that.
But I think the problem is that in places where INEC officials did not show up early, people went and then went back home. Again, my own personal experience, not of voting, but of people around me who were voting. They went to their polling units 2 times, and INEC officials did not show. So can you imagine a situation where INEC officials finally showed up, and the people who had gone there had left, and then they came back? It's like, oh, you're not on the queue. Therefore, I think those people will have the right to litigate after the process is over. If somebody was unintentionally disenfranchised because INEC officials did not show up on time, they have the right to go to court.
Well, so, Prof, your colleagues will end up being happy because
well,
they go to court on this.
Definitely. But you see, the thing is, going to court as a voter has its hurdles. Okay. So in most cases, those are issues that they'll present to the political parties, who probably, if a political party lost as a result of people not being disenfranchised, then those people can present themselves as witnesses that will testify.
No, but I think as citizens have the right, because it doesn't matter whether they belong to any political party. Citizens have the right to vote.
They do have a right to vote.
And if they are denied that right, they have, as citizens, not as political parties, they have the right to go to court if they want to.
They do have a right to vote, but when it comes to election petition, the question is, who are the proper parties before the courts?
All right,
and in most cases, it's the political parties that will be the proper parties.
Okay, Professor Yulowo Yewo is a former Dean, Faculty of Law, University of Lagos, and Professor Patience Akwanobong is a political scientist with Arizona State University in the U.S. Thank you both for coming on today.
Thank you
very much.
Well, we'll be back after the news, which comes up on the hour. Join us again.